Think you're safe from the dreaded dirt bike fork seal failure just because you don't ride your bike as hard as some people do? Think again. While it's true that a more aggressive riding style will put more wear and tear on your fork seals, they can still fail even if you're not jumping triple gaps. So how long do dirt bike fork seals last anyway? And when should you start worrying about them? Keep watching to find out. How long do dirt bike fork seals last? Dirt bike seals usually last for about 40 to 30 hours or about 2.5 years of riding time, whichever comes first. This means that even if you're a slow rider, you should still be worried about dirt bike fork seals. This means that even if you try to clean your bike up and ride responsibly, dirt bike fork seals can burst on you at any time. However, the more you abuse your forks by cranking high speeds or landing jumps with all your weight, the faster they'll go out. At first glance, this might not seem like such a big deal because most people don't ride as much as 2.5 years in their lifetime. But look at it this way, you've just spent $2,000 or more on your brand new dirt bike with sweet aftermarket parts. Wouldn't you feel upset if your fork seal started leaking in just 6 months? I know I would. That's why it's important to understand how long dirt bike fork seals last and that they can fail any time, not just when you're popping triple tail whips. How do you know if your fork seals are bad on a dirt bike? There are several things you can do to check your fork seals to see if they're leaking. Inspect the fork oil level. In order to check for dirt bike fork seal leaks, you need to take a look at the level of your fork oil. Even if the forks and all other components on your bike seem perfectly fine, no loose bolts, leaking gaskets or damaged components, they could still be in jeopardy if there's too little fork oil or too much air is in it. If the oil level is low, you'll need to add more to your forks. Make sure that you have more fork oil on hand before you do this. Look inside the fork tubes. The next step is to take a look at your fork tube seals. You can do this by removing the front wheel and setting it aside. Then take a look inside the fork tubes and see if you can spot any leaks. Check for damp spots on your tires. By now, you may have already spotted some dampness or wet spots on your tires. If this is the case, then it's definitely time to check out your fork seals because they're likely shot. Riding on dirt bike fork seals that have gone bad can cause them to disintegrate altogether, which could lead to the loss of control of your front wheel. This is a recipe for disaster, so check out your fork seals right away if you notice any wetness or damp spots on your tires. What should you do if your fork seals burst while riding? If your fork seals fail while you're riding, you'll probably lose control of your front wheel and crash. This will result in serious injuries such as broken bones, scarring, and possible paralysis, so it's important to do everything in your power to prevent this from happening. 1. Protect your face. If you're planning on taking your dirt bike out, make sure that you're wearing some type of protective gear like a helmet or face shield. A broken bone in the face is not only extremely painful, but it'll also leave some serious scars. And let's be honest here, who wants to get hit in the face with a soccer ball? 2. Wear some elbow and knee pads. I know that dirt bike riding is supposed to be stylish, but trust me, you won't look cool with bruises on your arms and legs. If it's sunny outside, you should also wear sunglasses or ski goggles to protect your eyes. 3. Carry some tools with you. This is extremely important. If your fork seals burst while you're riding, you'll need to repair them as soon as possible. This means that you should carry some screwdrivers, wrenches, and socket sets with you so that you can make the necessary repairs. How much does it cost to replace fork seals on a dirt bike? Replacing fork seals can cost anywhere from $40 to $100. If you have someone do the work for you, then they may even charge more. The best thing to do is take care of this task yourself, because it's relatively easy and won't require much time or money. That's because dirt bikes only have 2 fork seals, which means that you can replace them in just a few minutes. How often should dirt bike fork seals be replaced? You may want to replace your fork seals and oil after every riding season if they start leaking or become pitted. This will ensure that you stay safe while riding and avoid costly repairs in the future. Can I change fork seals without disassembly? In most cases, you'll need to disassemble the forks in order to check or replace fork seals. You can do this by following a few simple steps. 1. Remove the front wheel from the dirt bike. 2. Remove handlebars from triple clamps and set them aside. Then remove clamp bolts and slide off fork assembly from fork tubes. 3. Unscrew the upper and lower triple clamps with a wrench. Remove them from suspension assembly. Set aside the triple clamps with a washcloth to avoid scratching them with other tools or dirt bike parts. 4. Lift off fork assembly from lower legs, then remove dust seals from fork tubes by inserting a flathead screwdriver between the fork seal and tube. 5. Remove fork tubes from lower legs, then set them aside. 6. Unscrew bolt seal retainer located on the bottom of fork tube to remove old fork seals completely. This is usually a one-time use item, so you may want to consider ordering new ones as well. 7. Insert new fork seals into fork tubes, then reinstall the fork tubes along with dust seals. Finally, screw on bolt seal retainer onto bottom of fork tube. 8. Reassemble dirt bike by following steps in reverse order. Make sure that it is properly lubed and adjust height as needed. Note: always use new bolts every time you disassemble or reassemble fork tubes,